Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from the world. We are thrilled to welcome each and every one of you to Atlan Activate, our flagship product launch event. Now, if you've been to Activate before, you already know the drill. This is not a sit back, relax, watch kind of session. We love to keep things interactive on chat, so let's fire up the chat. Drop your names in the chat, tell us where you're dialing in from, and don't hold the emojis. We've got an amazing agenda packed for the next 59 minutes, and we want the room to have the same energy. So, all right, let's buckle up. Let's get started. So, Kalpa, do you want to just kick us off?
All right. In 1996, at the brink of the internet revolution, Bill Gates wrote a now famous essay titled Content is King. Today, in 2025, at the brink of the AI revolution, we at Atlan believe something new. Context is king. Hello, everyone. My name is Prakalpa. I'm one of the founders of Atlan. And my journey with context began over a decade ago. At Atlan, we started as a data team ourselves. We wanted to go solve these big critical problems, things like national level healthcare and poverty alleviation using data science. We partnered with organizations like the United Nations, the World Bank, several large governments. My most visceral memory of the context problem came after one of the toughest days we'd had as a team. It was 10 p.m. We just survived an enormous fire drill, 12 hours of chaos. I was packing up, and my most senior analyst walked over, and he told me he's quitting. For a moment, my heart shattered. This person had touched every single important project we were working on. All the knowledge, all the context about our data, it all lived in his head. And we had massive deliverables due to our customers. I begged him to stay, but it didn't work. That night, I cried for 3 hours straight. And that night, we decided that this could never happen to us ever again. That night led to the assembly line project. Over the next few years, we built tools that made us 6 times more agile. And we realized something powerful. When diverse humans of data could operate with shared context, they did their life's best work. Those learnings became the foundation of Atlan's mission to help the humans of data do more together. But today, we're standing at the edge of unprecedented change. AI is transforming everything. Could there be a world where AI writes a data pipeline? Or where AI performs analysis on our behalf? And if so, how must our mission evolve? Over the past year, we've tried to answer this question the best way we know how, by listening. We've spoken to hundreds of customers, dozens of AI startups, and this GIF summarizes everything that I have learned. Every time I bring up strategy, everyone brings up AI. And every time I talk about implementation, the energy in the room suddenly changes. Eyes drop, answers fade. And it's not just anecdotal. An MIT report that was released just this week found that 95% of generative AI pilots at companies are failing. Becoming AI native is proving to be really hard. A CIO that I know put it best. He said, the things we thought would be hard, the models, they turned out to be really easy. But the things that we thought would be easy, and he referred to their data and their context, turned out to be really hard. This is the AI value chasm in enterprises. On the left, AI in experimentation, and on the right, production. And if you're lucky, 1 in 4 experiments make it across. So what is causing this chasm? Through our conversations, we've identified 3 major hurdles. A CIO once told me, I have 1,000 AI use cases, but I don't even know where to start because I don't even know what data I have. In a pilot, finding data is easy because the scope is narrow. But in production, context is spread across CRMs, SharePoint, Slack messages, tribal knowledge. How does AI navigate that context? That's hurdle number one, discovering and understanding distributed context. Another CIO of an investment management firm once told me, on the open internet, TAM might mean 100 things. But in my company, TAM means total addressable market. How do you train AI on that business context? Again, in a pilot, really easy, but in production, really hard. I mean, even humans can't agree on what the definition of a customer is. And that's hurdle number two. LLMs today understand language, but they don't understand your business meaning. How do you teach them business meaning? A chief data and AI officer told me that I'm okay with an HR chatbot using my payroll data, but no other use case can touch my payroll data. How can I be sure? Easier said than done. In a pilot, governance is easy. You have a narrow data set, a small user group. In production, things explode. Unpredictable use cases, changing regulations, diverse users. Hurdle three is about governing AI and data at scale. At Atlan, we call this the AI context gap. AI is like a super smart alien. For it to succeed in production, it must be grounded explicitly in the shared context of our world. That is what our mission at Atlan is evolving into. We are on a mission to build a missing context layer for humans and AI to do their lives' best work together. So how might we bridge the AI context gap? We believe the answer lies across three layers that you'll hear time and again in today's Activate. The first, unifying context across every data, knowledge, and AI system in the enterprise. The second, enabling collaboration across humans to create shared, trusted context. And finally, activating this context invisibly into hundreds and thousands of AI-driven workflows. And with that, I am thrilled to show you how we are reimagining Atlan to lay the foundation for the context layer for AI, and to invite my colleague Mark to share how we're starting to bring this vision to life. Mark, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Prakalpa. Hey, folks. My name is Mark, and I'm going to talk about our first pillar, which is Unify. So here's the reality. Context is scattered everywhere, and bridging this AI context gap is a massive challenge. One legacy healthcare company has context spread across 47 different systems, from legacy systems that are running critical business processes to cloud native systems to emerging AI systems. And the result is a tangled supply chain of dozens of different tools. And along that supply chain, context is lost with every hop, every transformation, every ETL step. This complexity isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. So with LLMs, there's a new types of systems that can unlock, unstructured data that used to sit in dark corners. But every new source, every new type, every new pipeline brings with it a new dialect of context to wrangle. And so we don't just have a sprawl of data, we have a sprawl of meaning. And so the big question that we've been thinking about and trying to answer here at Atlan is, how do you take this massive dispersion of context across hundreds of tools, thousands of objects, potentially millions of fields, and unify them into something coherent? So our vision is a unified context graph. And if you look at these very human questions, you'll see that the answers they provide are also relevant to AI systems. So what data do I have within my data estate? What is the quality of a data set? What is a customer in this data set? How is it different from user or account? And using this graph, we can feed context into AI systems that will ultimately help us bridge that chasm from AI experimentation to AI in production. And later in the session today, Manoj will give a real example of this in action. But the question now is, how do we even build this unified graph? And that's where Atlan's Unify layer comes in. So you can think of this as all of the plumbing that ingests context from every system and weaves it into a coherent fabric. To pull this off, we need four critical capabilities. One is the ability to support multimodal applications, from metadata connectors to AI apps to full stack applications, an AI-assisted developer experience, so developers can spend days, not months, developing new apps to pull in context, reusable foundational apps. As some of you might have experienced in this space, there's some very hard problems. Query parsing is one of them. So foundational apps that solve those very hard problems and become pluggable to other applications. And lastly, an enterprise grade runtime, so apps can run anywhere and meet customer security requirements. And here's our key learning, though, which is the scale of this unification problem isn't something that we at Atlan can solve by ourselves. With thousands of potential systems where context can be harvested, unifying context has to be something that we solve as an ecosystem. So we've taken the best of all of these unifying the Unify layer, and we're making it available to partners and customers everywhere. And with that, I'm excited to announce our Atlan app framework. Think of it like an app store, but instead of for games or photo filters, it's an app store for context. And this is where you'll find AI governance agents, data quality apps, metadata connectors that are all built to plug directly into your data estate. But what exactly is the app framework? It's a world-class developer experience that will give you everything that you need to build, run, and scale applications out of the box. So one is pre-built APIs so that developers don't need to build endpoints themselves. Developer tooling gives a Python toolkit that accelerates app development, including cursor integration and testing utilities. Reusable components are these functional building blocks that handle things like authentication, storage, and parsing. By extension allows the definition of new objects and front-end configurations so developers can create native user experiences by themselves. Runtime environment, as I mentioned, deploy an app in any infrastructure, and then ultimately a marketplace that will bring apps, customers, and partners together to produce and consume those applications. And we're not launching this alone. I'm thrilled to share that we already have over 27 launch partners who have been building on the app framework to solve real customer problems. Thanks to all these teams that have been working closely with us, helping us mature this framework. But ultimately, don't take my word for it. I want to show you all the app framework in action. So at Anomlao, they've teamed up with us to build an application that helps customers manage the quality of their unstructured data, which is an emerging problem with the rise of AI. So they built an app on our framework, and so let's take a look at what they've built.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Karen. I lead partner engineering here at Anomlao. More than 80% of enterprise data is unstructured: PDFs, presentations, policy docs, call transcripts, and more. The challenge is knowing what's in this data and if you can actually trust it. The nation's top quick service restaurant brand, who is a joint Anomlao Atlan customer, faced this very issue with their customer review data while building an internal app. They couldn't easily spot issues, confirm AI readiness, or centralize context for governance. Now, with Anomlao Unstructured, you just point us to an S3 bucket. We score, scan, and summarize document collections, detecting 20+ issue types, enriching files with metadata, and even remediate issues like redacting PII or creating subsets of documents, all with no code. Anomlao surfaces deep insights into your data, but governance doesn't end there. Atlan is where context comes together, the shared workspace where teams decide what's trusted and ready to use. So while Anomlao identifies issues and creates metadata, Atlan brings those issues into their intuitive governance workflows. Together, we make it easy for teams to understand, trust, and operationalize their data at scale. Using the Atlan app framework, we automatically create S3 assets, embed summaries and issues in the README, We apply tags and certification, and we automatically update all this metadata on rescan. When a collection is processed in Anomlao, it's visible and governed in Atlan, so everyone can act with confidence. What makes this possible is the Atlan app framework. Atlan's API already made it super easy for us to embed metadata in their UI. This new SDK goes a lot farther. It lets us run complex logic inside the Atlan environment with resiliency, recovery, and minimal code rewrites. This made for a smooth, fast development process. And we're really just getting started. Next, we'll automatically generate unstructured lineage in Atlan to show how curated data from an Anomlao workflow feeds into your BI and AI apps. With Atlan's app framework, we can surface unstructured data quality and metadata right where governance decisions happen. That means faster adoption, trusted AI, and better outcomes for every enterprise.
Well, big thanks to Jonathan and the Anomlao team. What you just saw was the power of that framework. Anomlao was able to build their app within the framework by themselves. And most importantly, they're bringing this new type of data quality context directly into customers' environment. And this is ultimately what excites us the most, which is the customer outcomes that become possible when our partners and customers can contribute and innovate with us. And we're excited to announce that this app framework is in private preview. So for our early customers and partners, we can work together to unlock this unification pillar and bridge the AI context gap. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Prakalpa.
Thank you, Mark. So we've now figured out how to unify data and knowledge from enterprise systems. But often, valuable context isn't just in systems. It's in the heads of humans. And inside a company, it's distributed. Data context lives with engineers and architects. Business meaning is in the minds of analysts and sales and finance and business leaders. And governance comes from principles, and principles lie with legal and compliance, sometimes with leadership. So the question really is, how do we bring this distributed human context together? At Atlan, we've been conceptualizing a new unit of collaboration. We are calling it a context product. What is a context product? It is embedded with data, meaning, and governance. It's discoverable with self-contained metadata. It's complete with rich semantic business meaning. It's tested for quality and observability and has policies embedded. How do we bring all of this context together? This is really where Atlan's collaboration studios come in to help humans co-create these context products through purpose-built experiences. We started with the data catalog for data context. We then had the business glossary for business meaning. Last year, we launched our policy and compliance studio for governance context. And today at Activate, I am thrilled to announce 2 new studios experiences, Atlan's Data Quality Studio and Atlan's AI Governance Studio. Let me go a little deeper into the first launch, the AI Governance Studio. As we've spoken with customers about AI governance, we keep hearing 3 themes. The first, we've gone from shadow IT to shadow AI. Customers routinely tell us, I don't even know how many AI apps and models or agents exist in my company. There could be hundreds, maybe there are even thousands. Then they tell us about AI regulation rapidly evolving. It's changing every week. It's different at the federal level and the state level. I can't keep up. And then finally, they tell us how AI governance depends on data governance. How can you monitor an AI app if you don't know whether the underlying data has changed or not? And so I'm going to stop talking and hand it over to Tom to walk us through a demo of our AI Governance Studio. Tom, over to you.
All right. Thanks, PK. Let me switch screens for us all. Perfect. Get some of your faces out of the way here. Beautiful. All right. Organizations we are working with are wrestling the same things. I have thousands of developers building AI apps. How do I keep track of what they're building? Which models are available for use? How do I capture the context I need on a new app to be able not just to approve or reject, but truly advise on the best path forward? These aren't small problems. They're the foundation of responsible AI adoption. And they're exactly why we've built our AI governance module. So let's imagine I'm building a new AI application. Before I start coding, I want to know, has anyone else in the company already built something similar? With Atlan, that's no longer a blind spot. I can open the AI app homepage and instantly see every AI application across the company in one place. Now, I know what's already been built before I reinvent the wheel. So great. I've checked what's been built. The next question is, what models am I actually allowed to use for my application? Most companies pay for multiple models from multiple providers, and keeping track is nearly impossible. With Atlan, that confusion disappears. Models are automatically cataloged from my Databricks environment so I can search, browse, and understand every model available to me. I've checked the apps, I've found the right model. Now it's time to register my AI application as an idea to be approved. For this demo, I'll use the UI so you can see the experience visually, but just remember, Atlan is an API-first company with a robust SDK. Most enterprises automate this process with their CI/CD pipelines, so developers don't need to fill out forms manually. Here, you're seeing me fill out the basic details of the application. Then I associate the AI model powering it. In this case, I'll select Atlan AI. Next, I fill out the ethical AI section, documenting compliance requirements like the EU AI Act. I can also capture any company-specific standards here, like our internal fairness or transparency guidelines, so everything lives in one place. Once complete, the form routes to our governance team for review. Here's where they can request additional details, like whether the app is internal or external, which regions it'll be deployed in, and a few other details. I submit my app and move on to the next question. How do approvers know if they can approve an AI application? I heard from one customer that their legal team took 3 weeks to approve their chatbot because it's a new motion for them. With our app framework, we've given you the ability to build agents to handle the velocity of change. Our launch partner, Tavro, built an AI risk classification agent that you're seeing here. The moment an application is submitted, the agent automatically classifies the risk associated with it, giving approvers clear guidance before making a decision. You'll see more about this later. Finally, what about monitoring? Most modern AI applications are RAG-based. With Atlan, I can visualize the lineage for every model from data sources to knowledge bases to downstream apps. That means I can continuously monitor compliance and ensure nothing slips through the cracks. AI is moving fast. Atlan gives you the visibility and control to move with it responsibly and at scale. PK, turn it back over to you.
As we built our AI governance studios, we realized that AI governance cannot be one size fits all. Regulations differ across regions, countries, even states, and it's also going to be constantly changing. And so we need an open, extensible ecosystem where customers and partners can create agents and apps to keep pace with this evolving AI regulation. I'm super excited to spotlight a partner, Tavro, that has built an AI governance agent that Tom just showed you about.
At Tavro, we are on a mission to help organizations unlock the true value of their data. Every enterprise today is facing AI sprawl. Hundreds of undocumented AI models and applications are being built and deployed, often with no clear monitoring in place. Take the example of a Fortune 50 financial services company. They had hundreds of AI use cases across the organization, but it could take 6 to 8 hours to assess each use case to determine whether it is compliant with the critical regulations like EU AI Act. And there was no single place to automatically register and classify every use case across the enterprise. To solve this, we built an agent that auto-classifies AI models and apps registered in Atlan's AI governance module. The Tavro agent analyzes the AI application metadata and classifies it as per the EU AI Act. The classification details, as per Article 5 and 6, are captured as custom metadata within Atlan, along with the rationale behind the classification. This streamlined the AI application intake process, instantly tagging each application, and the time to complete the full risk classification was dropped to just minutes. The best part is that for end users, it is a unified and seamless experience. The agent works natively within Atlan's AI governance module, essentially acting as an invisible co-pilot. For our developers, the build process was just as smooth. We were able to take what we had already created outside Atlan and integrate it with minimal reconfiguration. The app framework gave us powerful toolkits like temporal integration, which made monitoring the workflow far more efficient. And this is just the start. We are excited to continue building AI native apps on Atlan.
Hopefully, that gives you a sense of the kind of ecosystem we're envisaging. An ecosystem where we can open up innovation and allow our customers to stay ahead of the curve and not keep catching up to this ever-changing world. And that brings me to our second studio launch of the day, our data quality studio. At Atlan, we have always believed in the power of data quality signals to power trust and context in data. This has driven first-class native integrations with top companies in observability and anomaly detection. Today, we're excited to take that one step further with a native data quality studio experience in collaboration with Snowflake and Databricks' recently launched data quality functionality. Over to you, Tom, to show us what this looks like in action.
Perfect. Again, take the screen from you. Awesome. All right, when it comes to data quality, we see two kinds of needs from our customers. The first is the cold start problem. Some are focused on their Snowflake or Databricks warehouse. They want something simple, a way to set up data quality checks fast, with or without code, and in a system that both the technical team and the business team can use. That's where Atlan's Data Quality Studio shines. It runs natively on Snowflake and Databricks, so you can start small and get to value quickly. The second is low visibility means low trust. Others have a broader challenge. They need data quality across their entire estate. That's where Atlan's partner ecosystem and app framework come in. We can bring in signals from our partners or custom in-house data quality solutions and surface them right alongside your warehouse check, giving you one place to see the full picture. Let's start at the reporting level here. Right away, I can see aggregated results, which rules are passing, which are failing, and what tables are most popular that have no rules on the right-hand side. This gives me a clear starting point. Let's click into the employee dimension here to investigate what's going on. When we get to the Data Quality Studio, we'll see this table doesn't have any rules yet. I could add them one by one, from custom SQL checks to no-code options. You know what? Let me show you both quickly. Let's start with a null count here. I select the salesperson ID column, I set the threshold, set my alert priority, and click Create. Just like that, my first rule is live. Next, I'm going to add a custom SQL rule. I paste in my query, in this case, checking name lengths, give it a name, fill in the details, and hit Create. Doing this column by column can seem a little daunting though, especially if you have tens or hundreds of columns to fill out, that's where our AI suggestions can help. Atlan scans the schema, recommends a set of rules, and I can choose which ones to apply in seconds. But I'm actually not sure if I selected the right thresholds as an engineer. Maybe I need to contact the business. So from Atlan, I open up a Slack chat, I find my business intelligence channel in Slack, and I message Sean because he owns this. Do you know what I should set this value to? I add it as a resource for all to see. So whether you're getting started with Snowflake or Databricks and need fast, visible data quality, or you need to unify signals across your whole data estate through partners like Anomlao, Atlan brings it all together, making data quality collaborative, scalable, and built for the way teams really work. I can see we're about 30 minutes in here, and we haven't said the word AI enough to meet our LinkedIn influencer quotas. So let's talk about how we're going further by introducing our MCP server. Gotta switch screens for y'all. Perfect. During my demo, I'm going to be using Claude's, but I think we first need to level set with what the heck is an MCP server. I think of Claude like a really smart assistant. On its own, it knows a lot, but doesn't automatically know how to work with your systems like Atlan. An MCP server is the universal adapter that connects Claude to those systems. That means instead of me manually hunting for information or updating assets in Atlan, I can just ask my assistant to do it. The MCP server makes Claude talk to Atlan safely and reliably. In short, MCP servers turn AI from just answering questions into a true agent that helps me be more productive. Let's hop in and see how this can help us. We have a Confluence space called the Customer Value Handbook here. And in there, we have a lot of unstructured information spread across multiple pages. So I'd like to turn this into a glossary in Atlan. I asked Claude, hey, can you go to Confluence and summarize what you found? Claude starts searching vigorously to gain the context that it needs to build the Atlan glossary. Then it summarizes the results, so I know exactly what it found. You know what? I want to use this to build the glossary. So next, I do a little prompt engineering. I ask it to create categories and terms in the glossary, customer success handbook. It lists out all the steps that it'll take to perform these actions, then asks, hey, are you good with this? Which I gladly say yes as I eat my next donut. Funny enough, I forgot to create the glossary for this demo. Claude sees that and it decided to create it for me, already correcting my mistake. I then go on to form all of the categories and terms. Once done, it provides a wonderful summary of what happened. We see it created 45 different terms and various categories for me, but the real test is, let's check Atlan to see if it worked. Right there in the top left, I see my customer success glossary and all of the categories and terms underneath, each with a description and a draft status certificate, as I told Claude to do. With an MCP server, documenting your data is no longer a chore. It's as simple as asking Claude. And this is just the beginning. For example, you could ask the AI assistant to spin up an industry-specific glossary template if you're just starting your governance journey, or have a draft documentation for a brand new database. Ultimately, we're most excited to see the creative use cases our customers come up with. Atlan's MCP server unlocks a whole new way to work, turning an AI assistant or agent into a true teammate that helps you get real work done faster. PK, turn it back over to you.
Ever since we launched our MCP server, we have been blown away by the use cases that the community has imagined with us. From engineers bringing Atlan's MCP into vibe coding environments like Cursor, to analysts and stewards writing up documentation, to exposing context into agents via agent orchestration frameworks to do automated compliance reporting. We think that we've just scratched the surface of what's possible, and we are super, super excited to imagine this future with you. And that brings us to the end of our Collaborate section today. We started this section to talking about how to enable humans to collaborate to create shared context. We made two exciting announcements. Data Quality Studio and AI Governance Studio are now in private preview. And finally, our MCP server, which is now GA. And finally, to today's last section of Atlan Activate. How do we activate this context into the AI workflows of the future? Over to Varun to take it from here.
Thank you, Prakalpa and Tom. So quick recap. We've gone through Unify. We talked about how do we bring context together across the data and AI estate, one source of truth. We've talked about Collaborate, where humans and AI work together, not against each other. And now let me take you through something that we're really excited about, Activate. Now, when we started Atlan, we had this core belief that if you take shared context to where the users are, we'll be able to help them create great outcomes. Everybody around that time was building for silos, lock-ins, but we always wanted to build bridges. We were pioneers in the space of active metadata. We were the first one who said, let's push metadata directly to where users are. If the users were in Tableau, we were there. If users were in Looker, we were there. But now the world has changed again. Just like users, AI agents are everywhere. They are in ChatGPT, they are in Snowflake, they are in Databricks, and probably in your coffee machine by tomorrow. So just like what we did with BI, we're going to do now with AI. We call it Activate. So if you remember the story that Prakalpa talked about that data analyst. So we used to have similar conversations, what the question you see on the screen, similar conversations with those analysts. And we asked them a simple question: what makes you trust data? And answers always surprised us. It was not just about accuracy. It was about context. People wanted to see who else has used this data. Show me when it broke last time. Show me what's the purpose of this. Why should I use it? So naturally, when AI analysts have started coming up, we've started asking the same question. Or in the AI world, we've started experimenting. So to take you all through what we've discovered in our experimentation, I have Manoj and Ravi, my colleagues, coming up to give you a sense of what we've discovered. Manoj.
Hey, thank you, Varun. So data teams we work with have been experimenting with data, talk to data initiatives. They want to allow business users to talk to their data warehouses in natural language. They have a common complaint. There is a lot of inconsistent responses. There is a lot of times when the response is outright poor. So we wanted to test this ourselves, and we were experimenting with different models. In this scenario, the demo we have, the data sets on Snowflake as our lakehouse could be anywhere. This one is on Snowflake. We're using GPT-4, but you could use any model as well. And the data set is a HR data warehouse. We tested multiple data sets with different levels of schema and complexity in it. To the HR data warehouse, I want to ask a very simple question. I want to ask, what are the unfilled roles? Now, this is me as a human user, not writing a lengthy conversation. I like my Instagram comments. I ask a question similar to that. What you see on the left-hand side are what we call as baseline. It's basically instructions to your LLM with the schema about your data set. What you see on the right-hand side is the same thing, plus enhanced, enriched metadata from Atlan that includes business glossaries, terms, definitions, and so on and so forth. Now, let's see what the model does. I'm going to submit the query. It's going to run that to Snowflake in the backend. It's going to do a few other things. It's going to convert natural language to SQL, submit the query, get me back some more information. On the left, the query ran. On the right, the query ran. Both were successful. It did not give me a failed query. But then you see no results. I'm intrigued. I'm trying to see what's happening. So I can see that the model on the left with less metadata and context, it gives a hallucinated response. It's trying for open roles, means the same thing I said, but in the context of my organization, I used the term unfilled. So even though I explicitly asked for unfilled, it did not filter based on that. But that's not it. There is another step. Even if it found the right SQL, with enriched metadata, we're additionally trying to get all extra metadata signals. As an example, there is a data quality issue, or the asset is an uncertified asset, and so on and so forth. However, this is just one query that we showed you right now. Is it scalable? Is it repeatable? For that, I'm going to turn it over to Ravi.
Thanks, Manoj. Folks, as you just saw in the demo, when the model only has schema level information, it often produces queries that are incomplete or even hallucinated. But the moment we enrich the prompt with rich metadata, such as descriptions, entity relationships, glossary terms, data quality signals, the SQL becomes not just more accurate, but also aligned with how the data is actually governed and used. And therefore, the output can be trusted more. To test this, we designed an experiment with 145 natural language questions, each paired with a gold standard SQL query. In the baseline setup, the model only saw table and column names, similar to what you saw on the left side of the demo. In the enhanced setup, we provided additional context, just like the example on the right side that explained why the query was correct and trustworthy. We measured accuracy using a token level F1 score, which balances precision and recall, and validated the results statistically. We used the Wilcoxon signed rank test. Now, don't worry if you don't understand these terms. Our paper will explain these and also the reasons why we chose them. The findings were clear. Adding metadata significantly improved SQL accuracy across every difficulty level, from simple to especially challenging ones. In fact, it were the complex queries that saw the most improvement in accuracy. The p-value we observed was less than 2 times 10 to the power of negative 10. My statistics professor will feel pretty confident with that low of a p-value, which means the improvements we observed, were not by chance, but highly significant. So what Manoj showed you in a single example plays out consistently across the full benchmark we tested. Our takeaway, metadata acts as a semantic scaffold that helps models interpret user intent and generate reliable SQL. And this is just the beginning. We are adding more complexity to our experiment. So watch out for a LinkedIn post and an upcoming research paper with the next wave of our findings. Back to you, Varun.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Manoj. I think all of us remember the famous adage, garbage in, garbage out. But with AI, it's worse. Garbage in and confident garbage out. And we are really excited because of that to activate this context across all agentic applications. But let's talk about how we are going to make it happen. First, let's take a step back first. Every software in this world that was built was always built on these 3 layers. Data at the bottom, logic in the middle, and experience on the top. But with AI, all 3 layers have changed. Data isn't just rows and columns anymore. It's documentation, images, conversations. Logic is no longer just if and else. We've been trained to write logic like that. Now it's reasoning, learning, thinking, and we're outsourcing it to these general purpose agents. Experience isn't just point and click, it's conversations. That means we had to reimagine the whole infrastructure as well. And this is what our learnings were. Metadata is no longer just one-way traffic. It's not about just us consuming context, AI consuming context. It's also about generating new context. There is so much interaction that humans are going to do with AI. There's so much context that will be generated across the agentic lifecycle. And I'm sure by now in 46 minutes, you've realized metadata is no longer just small data. It's huge. It'll be generated in millions. So we had to rethink and learn from the world of data. So what did we care about that? We cared about scalability. Can it scale with exploding workloads? We had to care about versioning because there needs to be right audit, how the context has changed over a period of time. So we know how the outcomes are changing. We should be able to do real-time querying. AI agents should be able to easily plug them in. And at the end of the day, it needs to be open and interoperable because the agents could be anywhere, could be built in any framework in any runtime. So just like in the BI era, there were data warehouses. In the AI era, we are really proud to introduce context stores powered by Lakehouse architecture. So we are building this from the ground up with an open table format like Iceberg, which makes it versioned, open by design, and interoperable. You can bring your favorite compute to query, run analytics, run your AI workloads. You can bring your own model on top of this. It's not just a store. it has out-of-box capabilities with things like semantic and hybrid search. And like we always do, we keep it open and extensible with your frameworks, APIs, and apps that you can build on top of this. And we are also really proud to partner with amazing partners in the ecosystem, just like with all the pillars, to help accelerate this for our customers. Tom, do you want to take this and make it real for everybody here?
I would love to. Let me take screen. Boom. All right. AI is only as powerful as the metadata that fuels it. And until now, metadata has been locked away in catalogs, hard to access, and even harder to put to work. Atlan changes that. We've built a metadata lakehouse powered by Apache Iceberg and made it queryable both in Snowflake and Databricks. That means your metadata is no longer just documentation. It's data you can analyze, visualize, and act on. Let me show you. Here in Snowflake, you'll see the metadata lakehouse exposed just like any other database. I can explore the tables, and if I wanted, I can even run a query. For example, I'm going to check the description quality on tables using Snowflake Cortex. Metadata isn't abstract anymore. It's insanely queryable. Now I'll hop over to Databricks because you know what? Same metadata, same tables, same query, but with Databricks syntax. Available natively here too. That's the power of using an open table format like Iceberg. No lock-in, no silos, just one consistent foundation for all your metadata. And because metadata is now data, you can analyze it anywhere, like in a Sigma dashboard built directly on top of the metadata lakehouse. This is one designed for a chief data officer who wants to know, how ready are my domains for text to SQL use cases? Which domains are well documented and governed? Which need investment? This is just one example. The truth is you can build any custom dashboard or any metric you can imagine. Operational efficiency, governance, adoption, AI readiness. The use cases are endless. That's the vision of the metadata lakehouse. Your metadata stored in an open format, queryable in Snowflake and Databricks, powering whatever use case your business needs. As a matter of fact, Riddick, would you mind taking over the screen and showing what our launch partner Sigma built on top of the metadata lakehouse?
Hello everyone, I'm David Lyons with Sigma Computing. I'm a senior solution engineer here, and Sigma's thrilled to be a launch partner of Atlan's Metadata Lakehouse built on Iceberg. Today we're going to show a pre-built Sigma application that offers a few representative examples around popular use cases such as compliance and storage utilization. Now let's go ahead and get started. So in this particular view, I'm actually looking at compliance, where we're wanting to manage our tables and views and manage those that do not have tags. In this case, actually 31% actually don't have tags, which is a large number. In addition, the Sigma platform allows us to utilize a graphical visualization. Here we're wanting to look at our storage utilization and identify those large tables that may not be utilized. In this case, I can actually see our DIM company has a popularity score of 0, but it's a fairly significantly large table. Other types of views we may want to look at is a historical analysis, where we're looking at tables without a description. Here we can see that over time and kind of track this information. Maybe some training for our data stewards to make sure that they are always adding a description when they add new objects in. So here very quickly, I just showed a few representative examples of the power of Sigma on top of your metadata lakehouse built on Iceberg, being able to not only visualize data, but also take action on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our partner Sigma. And I also want to talk about, we are launching this with our launch partners Snowflake, Sigma, and Databricks. You will keep hearing updates on how we take our context store to every person building agentic applications across the world. So if you remember the 3-tier stack that I talked about with software, not just the data and the logic are changing, but the experience is changing as well. So it's moving from navigation, where you're using your mouse, it's moving to conversational. It's moving from clicks to intent. And most importantly, which is what I'm really excited about, it's moving from output to outcomes. So we are reimagining the data discovery as well within Atlan for the AI world. And how do we bring Atlan's rich context to power the AI search? Tom, passing over back to you.
All righty. Perfect. All right. Finding the right data is just too hard. You don't know which BI tool your company uses. Is it Tableau, Power BI, Looker? You don't know which databases even exist, or whether your metrics are defined consistently. And by the time you've asked the question in Slack, checked Confluence, sent a few emails, you've already lost days. Now imagine I'm a brand new business user. Leadership has asked me to deliver metrics on customer acquisition cost, CAC. I don't even know where to begin. Instead of wasting time chasing context, I'll start with Atlan's AI search. Let's hop into Atlan and check it out. So I ask, what metrics are used to evaluate customer acquisition cost? In seconds, Atlan surfaces glossary terms like CAC itself. Suddenly, I know my company actually measures my company actually measures customer acquisition cost. But definitions alone aren't enough. I need to know who owns it. So I ask, which teams are responsible for tracking and optimizing CAC? Just like that, I see Razi owns it, and I know exactly who to reach out to with any questions. No guessing, no endless Slack messages. Last but not least, I want to see this thing in action. So I ask, do we have any dashboards available for tracking CAC trends? And instantly, I see the live dashboards my company already uses to track performance. By clicking on a dashboard name, the companion sidebar pops out to give me quick context. Diving into lineage also helps provide more signals as to whether this is even the right dashboard. Finally, maybe I want to preview the dashboard right in Atlan and get confirmation it's exactly what I need. That's the power of Atlan's AI chat. It removes guesswork, the endless hunting across tools, the wasted hour in Slack, turning what used to take days into minutes. And look, here's the thing. We actually built this 2 years ago, before GPT was mainstream. Some of you may remember that. We built a lightweight LLM wrapper, but we realized quickly the problem was bigger than just dropping a model on top of metadata. The answers were not accurate enough. We made the tough decision to roll it back. And here's the truth. Anyone who tells you their AI search is 100% accurate is lying. The real challenge is grounding AI in reliable context. That's why we built a metadata lakehouse on Iceberg and paired it with semantic search plus Elasticsearch. Together, they reconcile intent with precision. So AI doesn't just sound smart, it's actually useful. It retrieves the right answers consistently at scale. That's what makes AI different. Varun, turn it back over to you to close this out.
Thanks, Tom. And we are into the last 4 minutes of this event. And thank you for 800 people who've still with us today. Quick recap before we go to the last phase. We talked about App Framework, which is extensible framework to bring your context in. We talked about Collaborate, and we talked about AI Governance Studio, Data Quality Studio. How do we bring this additional context and let humans in AI collaborate? We talked about the MCP server. How do you convert unstructured context that you have floating in your files, SharePoints, Confluence, and bring that context into Atlan? And we talked about activating it. Example with AI search, Metadata Lakehouse, and talk to data experiments. But here's the thing. We don't have all the answers. And the challenges we are solving, they are hard, really hard. How do you version control context? How do you prevent hallucination at scale? I think somebody asked a question in chat. How do we bring all of this context at scale? How do you make AI actually trustworthy? And we can't solve these alone. Nobody can. That's why today we are announcing Atlan AI Labs. This isn't a product. This isn't a feature. This isn't a capability. It's actually a representation of our mission. We are inviting customers, partners, AI researchers, and anybody who's obsessed with making enterprise AI actually work to join us in this journey. And I want to end the event going back with our mission. But before that, I want to give you a quick preview of all the use cases we're really excited to partner with all of you. We're looking to partner with all of you around talk to data use case, from natural language to get you answers, powering via Cortex and Genie. We're excited to power your go-to-market agents, whether this is the sales agent, marketing agent. We're looking forward to enable AI data engineers for quickly figuring out the pipeline issues. Why do you need to depend just on the lineage graph? Can you make it embed as part of the workflow? We're looking forward to help you convert your diverse context across your unstructured call transcripts, stand-up meetings into structure. And we talked about AI governance. We want to help you get there to convert and automate your compliance reports. So ending this event with where we started the company. Join us to make enterprise AI real, and let's help humans of AI and data do their life's best work. And that's the perfect note to wrap up the Activate event. And thank you for each and every one of you to join us, and see you soon in an upcoming Atlan event. And I know some of you have sent a lot of questions. We have noted some of them down. We'll share it across async over the emails. But thank you for asking and being engaged. Thank you so much, everyone.